Hi, everybody. Welcome to lecture number 3 of Module 5, How to Answer Questions Professionally. So you just finished your presentation, everything went well, and then you remember, oh, I have to answer questions. What am I going to do? Well, we've got 10 tips to help you have a successful question and answer session. Tip number 1, think of potential questions ahead of time. You can do this by giving a practice presentation for friends or colleagues and seeing what questions they have, or you can go back and look at your research journal from early on in your action research project. What kind of questions did you have? Those are probably similar to some of the questions that you're going to get during your question and answer session. Number 2, tell your audience how much time you have. So saying something like, we have only 5 minutes for Q&A today, or we have about 15 minutes for questions today. Number 3, thank the questioner. This does a couple of things. It makes you appear polite, and it gives you a few seconds to help to prepare your answer before you start speaking. So saying, thank you for your question, or that's an interesting question. Tip number 4, repeat the question back to the whole group. You have a microphone, but the person asking the question may not. So if everyone doesn't hear the question, they can be really confused and feel like, this dog in this picture, what? What is she talking about? I don't know. I didn't hear the question. So make sure that you repeat the question back to the whole group so everyone can hear it. Number 5, ask for clarification if you don't fully understand the question. It's very important that you understand the question so you're answering the question that they're asking. So a simple phrase like, sorry, would you mind repeating that? Or, if I understand you correctly, you're asking, and then paraphrasing their question. Tip number 6, speak to the whole group when answering. Yes, you want to make eye contact at the beginning with the person who's asking the question, and then again at the end. But in the middle when you're answering, make sure that you make eye contact with everyone in the audience so the whole group is included. Number 7, check that you've answered the question. So a simple phrase like, does that answer your question? Or, is that clear? And 99% of the time, the person will say, yes, thank you. Don't be afraid to say you don't know. It's much better to say politely that you don't know than to give an answer that's incorrect. So something like this, I'm sorry, I don't have that information at this moment. If you contact me, I'd be happy to email it to you. Tip number 9, don't let one person dominate the session. Sometimes there's one person who just has a lot of questions or wants to talk a lot. Make sure that you give everybody a chance to speak if they would like to. So everyone has the opportunity to ask a question. Please limit your questions to one question per person. Or, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks like someone over here has a question. Tip number 10, let the audience know when you're getting to the end of your time. We have time for one more question, or we're about out of time. Does anyone have one last question? You do that when you have 2 or 3 minutes left. So let's do a quick review. Think of questions ahead of time. Tell your audience how much time you have. Thank the questioner. Repeat the question to the whole group. Ask for clarification if you don't fully understand the question. Speak to the whole group when answering. Check that you've answered the question. Don't be afraid to say you don't know. Don't let one person dominate the session, and let the audience know when you're getting to the end of your time. Are you looking for more phrases for answering questions? There's a link in the description below to this document, Phrases for Answering Questions Professionally, and you can practice using those phrases as you prepare for the COP conference. If you have more questions, talk with your mentor, or you can send me an email. This is my email address, LMI LMI-PCSL@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. See you in June.